Let's go first of all to Joe in Bedford. Joe, good evening.
Good evening, Daniel, and thanks for taking my call. We spoke earlier on in May about a preliminary hearing, and I've just now got a follow-up question for my final employment tribunal hearing. And the question is, how do I go about getting an under 18 to be a witness or to provide a witness statement? And that's the question, really. The context is, I've worked in a school as a teaching assistant, so these would be school students. At the time of the incident, they were 14, 15, so they're now, and that was 2 years ago or 18 months ago, so they're sort of now 17. They're not 18 yet. I don't have any of their information. I don't have their contact details, which is obviously a good thing. I'm a former teacher. So how do I go about getting that information to be able to get a witness statement off them? It all just seems quite sort of daunting.
Yeah, right. First of all, those under 18 aren't obliged or entitled, I should say, to give evidence automatically. If you're under 18, the judge has a discretion whether to allow them to give evidence or not. The judge has to be satisfied they're capable of understanding what the oath means and the duty to tell the truth, and that they're not going to be harmed by giving evidence, which is much more likely with a 8-year-old than a 17-year-old. And you said you're talking about 17-year-olds. So you're on the right side of the discretion here. Here's what you need to do. Clearly, the school is not going to give you those names and addresses, of course, or addresses rather, you know the names. Of course they're not. And they'd be acting appallingly if they did so. So, the first thing I would do is ask the school to call the children or the relevant children as witnesses itself. Do this in correspondence, and when you write to the school, set out in bullet points what you think those children will say. Say in the letter to the school, I don't know their addresses, I can't contact them, would you please undertake to call them as witnesses? One of two things will happen. They will ignore you, or they will say no. They're not going to say yes. Once you get their reply saying no, or indeed they ignore you, you've chased and they've ignored again, which is actually the most likely outcome, you can then apply to the employment tribunal for a case management order requiring the school to disclose their address to you for the purpose of contacting them about evidence. The judge might say yes, the judge might say no, but that's the route to go down.
Okay, I got you.
You've got to show you've asked and not been given it.
And what about the nuance that they are now not at the same school because it's now sixth form and they've gone to a sixth form somewhere else?
Well, if the school doesn't have their details, the school doesn't have their details. End of.